And welcome back to Hot and Cold Podcast. I hope everybody listening had a great Valentine's Day. Today is February 15th. We're going the day after. But I just wanted to make sure you guys knew how much we loved college basketball. And that was our collective Valentine's Day date. I might get in trouble for saying that, but I'm going to say it anyways. Connor, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yesterday's slate of games for Valentine's Day might have been the worst
The
college
worst.
basketball slate in probably months.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was Big Monday. That's what they call it, Big Monday. The only ranked team that played was Kansas versus Oklahoma State, and the jersey sucked.
Yeah.
That was the only takeaway I had is that Kansas's throwback jerseys were the worst things I've ever seen on my television. So, but yeah, other than that, game sucked. It was actually good because it kind of helped us. We can kind of just look into the future on this podcast instead of kind of harping on what happened in the past couple of days. And we can kind of just talk about what happened on Saturday instead of, having to include what happened Monday. It was perfect for our schedule, selfishly, but neither here or there. But yeah, what this weekend it was kind of uneventful. There wasn't a lot
Yeah,
of
for the most
huge
part.
upsets. Yes, there wasn't a lot of huge upsets. There was one in particular that I do want to get to. Um, and there's a team that came out of the weekend that looks like we had this discussion on the last podcast that looks like they put their head and shoulders above the race for that last Big Ten tournament spot. But I'll kind of let you simmer on that. Let's start out in East Lansing. Indiana heads to Michigan State. Kind of went exactly how we thought it would. It kind of did. I know Indiana fans were pissed about the officiating. I saw it all over Twitter. I heard from you. I called you at halftime because I wasn't able to watch. It was kind of running concurrently with Kentucky. Um, but yeah, since I didn't get to watch the game, I'll kind of let you take over this. What was there's got to be something causing. Look, we talked about it after the Illinois game. That game on its face did not really matter because Illinois is a better team than Indiana, and everybody knows that. But we were worried that the Hoosiers would kind of go in a downward spiral. And this is now 3 games in a row that they've lost. So tell me, what is the reason for these losses? If you can even simplify it like that.
Oh, it's the offense. Look, I think people are starting to realize that, and it's weird that people didn't already know this. I already knew this. Some people already knew this. This is the same team that played last year, plus a so-called shooter from the portal in Miller Kopp and Xavier Johnson. Not really anything else different. There's not really, people are upset that the play style isn't good, the offense isn't good, we're just pounding it into the post. It's, well, what else are we supposed to do? What else is Woodson really going to do with the team that he was basically handed? And I was going back and forth with somebody on Twitter, which was just one of the dumbest conversations that I've probably ever had. Asking, well, then why did he bring all these players? What was he supposed to do? You can't just fill out a team from the portal like that. You look at teams that have done that, it hasn't gone very well. And it wasn't even the whole team. Like, you can't just have nobody returning. So they don't have a guard that can create any offense consistently. Trace hasn't been the same since the Nebraska game. I don't know if that's a combination of him getting hurt, him playing just better people in general. I think it's probably a little bit of both, but he has been not good since that Nebraska game. The competition's obviously gotten better. The fact that they're already at 7 wins compared to last year just proves that Woodson, like, people are saying that Woodson and Archie are the same. And it's like, they've already matched their Big Ten win total from last year. They still have winnable games left. So they're probably going to finish at least, I would say, at least with 10 because they've got some gimme games at home.
I see there's at least two, and that's at Minnesota and hosting Maryland.
I mean, they just have to win those. And I just don't, it's such a weird scenario that's going on right now. I don't know how people expected things to go really any differently. Unfortunately, I think the Purdue game probably changed expectations for people. And I don't know. It always kind of seemed like it was not who they really were. I mean, the guards combined for almost 40 points. Rob Finney, I mean, that doesn't happen.
Right.
That hasn't happened. I don't think the guards have combined for 30 points in a game more than like once or twice. So, I mean, there's not really much else they can do. The fouls are terrible for both teams. Nobody knows what's going on. Bo Borowski is literally the worst official like ever. Like he is. I just don't understand. I mean, Woodson has not had to deal with this before, so he doesn't really understand it until this year. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. It's why Big Ten teams struggle in the tournament. They don't. The pace of play is just totally different. There's nothing that any team can do about it, though. But like I said, though, Michigan State's kind of get right game. I mean, they didn't even have performances from. I mean, their point guard was pretty good.
Malik Hall went for 18,
Malik Hall was good, and Tyson Walker probably had the best game of his season. I didn't even know he could shoot threes, and I think he made 2 or 3 of them. So that was an experience, but I just there and Parker Stewart again made one shot and like was blowing a kiss to the Izzone or whatever in their student section. Dude, you're playing horrible right now.
He was 1 of 7 from 3.
He's been awful.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the entire second half of the season. Like really, really bad. One of the major reasons the offense doesn't work is literally because of him. I don't know where this cockiness is coming from. I don't know how you can even have it when you've been suspended twice. You got benched. It's very weird. Very weird to me.
Well, the problem with what Indiana was trying to do, I know they just did a whole lineup change. Well, it wasn't a whole lineup change. They subbed Trey in for Parker. But the problem with what they were trying to do is by having Miller and Parker on the court, they were trying to space out the court for Trey Jackson Davis to get his own. When neither of them can hit threes, then they're no longer a threat from the 3-point line, and they're rather ineffective because they can't create their own shot. They can't get to the rim. They can't beat anybody off the dribble. So now they're just standing decoys that nobody thinks can do anything. So it doesn't help the offense at all.
No, and I am to the point where I think, Trey struggled, but he should still start. Miller should not start anymore. I think Tamar should start. I just don't see what the point is. I think Xavier's cleared away the best point guard on the team, so he has to start.
Yeah.
I don't see the benefit from playing Miller Kopp anymore. He only played 12 minutes anyway. Like Tamar played 28 minutes, probably had his best game in conference play since Nebraska. Earlier in the season, he has to play. Like just from the development standpoint for next season, I don't understand why you wouldn't. And I don't think it hurts you now. He hasn't been any worse of a shooter than Miller. I'm curious. Let's look at it. I mean, Tamar is only shooting 30% from 3, but the attempts are very limited. And Miller's at about 37.
Yeah.
You take out that Syracuse game, I wonder what Miller Kopp's shooting from 3, because I literally have no idea. But he made like 6 threes in that game.
Right. Right. No, I mean that's a completely fair argument. It's down to that time. It's this is going to show you if Mike Woodson. Well, look, I hate doing this because it seems like I'm putting kind of an ultimatum on Mike Woodson's career at IU. But it is kind of true. This is the kind of turning point. This is where Archie always folded every year, and now Woodson has the chance to kind of differentiate himself in his first year. If he can pull together one of these 3 games, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Purdue, probably should be able to get in at least one.
Just got. I mean, they win tonight, they're in. Like, sure. I think that's probably safe to say, unless they just lose every game the rest of the season, which I don't think would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I don't know, I don't know where. I think there's the 10 right now. Like, I think the magic number, like we've said, is probably 20.
I've seen them anywhere from 8, 9, 10.
Like, they're still not even on the bubble yet. And a lot of people, they're not even in that discussion because they have decent wins.
They lose this, they'll be in the last 4 buys. Probably. Yeah. Especially since Vegas is kind of screwing them over. They're favored in this game.
I know. I wouldn't, maybe not at 3. I thought it'd be like 1.5, something like that. The interesting thing is, I think they could benefit from having Trace, having the National Player of the Year, All-American person on their team, might get the nod.
Sure.
Didn't get it with Romeo, but they're not going to have as many losses this year as they did that year. So as long as he gets in, I don't know how any IU fan can be disappointed or upset. This team is literally horribly constructed. He tried to fix it with some Band-Aid, like the major holes. I mean, just tried to patch on some solutions. It just hasn't worked. I mean, he didn't really have a choice. There's nothing else you can really do.
It's true. It's very true. You look at some of those names that are in the portal, and this is going to happen every offseason, but a guy like Matt Bradley would be very good right now.
We talked about him.
Yeah.
And IU at one point, I think, was maybe interested in him. Would have been great. I don't know what the playing time situation would have been with him. I don't think people maybe expected him to be that good in the Big Ten versus where he's at now, but
that's fair.
Would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I would hope that it's going to be totally flipped this offseason for them, because their entire recruiting class, coincidentally, is guards and forwards. That's not a coincidence, by the way.
I sense the sarcasm. Yeah.
I don't think and then in the portal, they're probably going to go get a big, maybe, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to be a complete shift on how this team functions after the season. Just didn't have a choice. How else can you do anything differently when your 2 best players are pigs that can't shoot? It's like, you're really stuck.
This is going to sound backwards and negative, but I think it might be best for Indiana that their relationship with Trace ends after this season. You can't just have another year of him as your best player. If you actually want to make a significant change, he cannot be the focal point of your offense. I think Trace is a really good player. I think part of the reason he's struggling, again, the injury, fine, whatever, he just hasn't progressed as we thought he would through his 3 years. I don't think he's progressed at all. I think he's the
same player.
He's the exact same player. He still lacks that touch at the rim that NBA bigs have. Obviously he doesn't have the jump shot. He's fine on defense. He's gotten better at that. That is the one thing he's gotten better at, is protecting the rim. But he just can't be a legitimate contender with him as your best player and nothing around him. So I don't know. Maybe that's a stupid take. Obviously, whatever. I could be wrong, but
Ask you this real quick.
yeah.
You think he leaves?
I don't think there's any hope for him developing a jump shot. And I think that's the entire point of him staying.
Maybe. My thing is, I don't know if he's going to graduate or not, technically, with the degree. His draft stock's probably the same, right? Probably still second round
It's
pick.
probably the exact same, yeah. I mean, stay for the NIL. This is why NIL is there. Like, I could see it happening.
It's
I
going
just
to be
think
an interesting.
it would
I
be
think
best
Grace
for
Thompson's
both parties. Yes. I think he's probably transferring.
Or he's just done. I think he's been in college for 6 years.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to leave no matter what. We've yet to really see Trace without him, like playing right next to him.
Yeah.
Other than a little bit his freshman year, but he also had Joey Brunk next to him, which is even worse. So that would be the only hope or counter to the Indiana and him needing to kind of end this. I don't know. It's interesting. I was talking to Bryson the other day. I was like, maybe, I don't know if he leaves because, like you said, the NIL.
Yeah.
You go ahead and get your degree. You might as well. I mean, if your draft stock's going to be the same, what's the point of, the second round pick versus the first round pick is a huge difference as far as they can cut you unless they guarantee your contract, which is up to them when they draft you.
I just don't see hope in him being a first round pick, even after another.
I don't either. Probably not.
I think the only
that's
way
why you should get that's why you should get his degree in case,
Yeah. No, I mean, that's true. I think Trace coming back, if Woodson does what he wants to do, I don't think if Trace comes back, he will be this perennial All-American that he has been, because obviously that hasn't led to winning when you're focusing your entire offense through him. I think the best possible scenario for him coming back is him filling that Travion Williams role that Purdue has right now, and where he can kind of not be the focal point of the offense at all. And still, Travion Williams, you can argue, is just as important to Purdue's wins as Jaden Ivey is, because he's the guy that facilitates from the top of the block. He's incredibly important. He doesn't get 20 and 10 like he did in his first 2 seasons at Purdue. So I think if Trace would come back and accept that role, maybe that helps IU out. I don't think it improves his draft stock at all. I think it would probably.
Are you saying you bring him off the bench?
Not necessarily, no. I'm just saying he can't be the focal point of the offense for a team that's going to be.
Let me ask you this: is Oscar the focal point of Kentucky's offense?
He's their leading scorer. He's not the focal point.
That's how I think they would use him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, most of Oscar's buckets,
right?
Most of Oscar's buckets are from an offensive rebound, believe it or not. Like it's from like a missed jumper, missed floater. Sometimes he'll get it in the pace or in the paint, post spin, dunk. Yeah,
that's how he should be used. That's how he's going to be used in the NBA if he ever gets there.
Can he average 15 rebounds a game?
If he's the only guy, well, he'd have to try. He would have to try. That's another thing that hasn't really been discussed. He's kind of, I don't know if he's checked out or not. Again, that's the whole hurt, injured part of the story that nobody really knows and only he can answer. But the one thing that we've all said, and then we can move on from IU after this.
Okay.
He's never had a point guard that's been really skilled.
Sure.
Xavier Johnson is okay, has his highs and lows. I really just don't see it, though. I don't know if he's coming back next year. Hood Schifino is supposed to be that. And
he just got put into the top 10 of on three, right? Those rankings were bad. Those rankings were weird. They were weird. I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, I haven't paid attention to high school, but usually when it's that far off from every other database, it's probably bad.
It was the top. Some guys were roughly the same. And I don't know, that's where the personal bias comes in, but sure. He's clearly supposed to be this really good point guard and
Oh yeah, 100%.
could make your big. I mean, a big is only as good as his point guard. I will say that right now. Oscar Tshiebwe has benefited from Severe Wheeler significantly, and Tyty for that matter.
Yeah,
Both of
yeah.
them. He's not anywhere close to that if the guards aren't playing well.
Yeah.
So it's been an unfortunate circumstance for him in his 3 years too, just from the fact that he hasn't played with anyone that gets him the ball in the right spots.
That's true.
And he's kind of had to do it himself.
Very, very true. But yeah, kind of moving on to the Kentucky game, I did want to touch on that. I mean, it was obviously not really the outcome that I wanted to talk about. Kentucky beats Florida by 21 points. Look, we talked about it. I wasn't worried about the game. I don't think anybody should have been worried about that game. But they come in, we beat them. Tyty gets hurt. Tyty, somebody dives at Tyty's feet. It looks like it takes out his knee. He runs off the court immediately into the locker room. It was a very scary thing. But I was like, when I watched it, this was the first thing that ran through my mind. Everybody was like, oh, he ran off the court. This isn't good. This isn't good. This isn't good. Called me an idiot. I was just happy that he could put pressure on that knee. I usually, guys, if they tear an ACL, if they do something, they are not putting any pressure on it. And he limped, but he ran off the court. So wasn't too worried. Cal came out after the game, said the x-ray was negative. He'll be fine. May miss a week or two. Which I was fine with. I want him back for the tournament, whatever. I think he is the key to a title run for the Cats. But that being said, kind of the other storyline playing out from this game is I think Oscar kind of had one of his signature games for his National Player of the Year campaign. 28 points, 19 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 assists, I believe. The video game numbers that this guy puts up is just absolutely unreal. It's crazy. And if he doesn't win National Player of the Year because his scoring isn't enough, whatever, I mean, he is leading the number 4 team in the nation in scoring. And I think that's a pretty big deal in its own right. So that's kind of all I wanted to. I mean, there was no storylines besides Tyty's injury. And I think we can both agree. I think you'd be happy to agree with me that this team doesn't go anywhere without Tyty, right?
No. And without him, I think Severe just gets put in a really bad spot. And I could just I could see that situation just leading into him getting into foul trouble in like one of those first 2 tournament games. And then they're screwed if they don't have Tyty out there. So yeah, without him, I think they're a totally different team. Oscar has just been, it's such a weird thing. Like we just said, he's not even like the focal point of the offense. The usage rate is extremely low.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of the first, he's got to be one of the only National Player of the Year candidates that has a usage rate that is so low. Like he hardly touches the ball.
Anthony Davis. It's a Kentucky thing.
Anthony Davis it's the bigs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird, man. Like, well, when you look at all the other candidates, what is it boiled down to? 2 other candidates right now? Johnny Davis and probably Kofi Coburn as the other 2. I mean, those guys are the focal point.
Ivy.
Maybe Ivy. Ivy isn't the focal point at all, but I don't even know. I don't know if he's on that same tier of voting, whatever. Kofi and Johnny Davis are the focal points of their offense. Johnny Davis is a focal point of everything for Wisconsin. We're going to see them tonight. We'll talk about that in a second. But it is pretty crazy. I know you like to make fun of the rebounding, whatever. I do realize the stat on its face seems pretty insignificant because it's just, okay, who can catch the ball off of a miss? But the opportunities that leads to is incredible. So I think it means a lot more than just the rebound number in itself.
It's going to come down to And this happens every year because basically National Player of the Year is the MVP of college basketball. And what is the MVP? What is it?
Right. Most
is it the most valuable player?
That's the
or is it
name
who
of
had
it.
the best
Yeah.
season?
Right.
Most valuable player is
You
clearly
probably
Johnny
think,
Davis.
yeah, you probably think it's Johnny Davis, sure.
Or even Kofi. Like it, I don't think Kentucky would be as good as they are without Oscar.
No, he is the most. I'm going to stop you there. His usage rate is low. He is the most important player on that team because he doesn't get the blocks that your average on the defensive end. He doesn't get your blocks that your average center would get. But he is incredible. I've never seen a center like this that plays that entry pass better than any big I've ever seen. He leads the team in steals. So he prevents himself from being put in a bad position from a bigger center, going up with the hook. He prevents that shot from ever happening. He lives in the passing lanes. He runs with the offense. He gets every offensive rebound. I think he had 9 defensive rebounds and 10 offensive rebounds against Florida. So, I mean, it's not just, all right, get the ball on defense and let's start a break. It's chasing his own mid-range if he misses it. He did that. It's getting, a 3 missed or a layup miss. He's incredible at it. So I think that is the value in him. And I think that leads to so much success for Kentucky because it leads to so many shots.
Are they in the top 25 without him?
Yeah. Okay. I do see your point. But Wisconsin's not any good. Like, they're not as good as Kentucky.
Well, no. But what is Wisconsin without Johnny Davis?
I mean, yeah, we had him at the bottom of the Big Ten. So, I mean, there's his argument. There's Johnny Davis's argument.
That's going to be the whole thing at the end of the year on what the award really is. Oscar's probably going to get it because it's not really the most valuable player. That award has never.
That's not what this award is called. To be fair.
Yes,
it's player of the year.
It's the stats. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's fair. One more thing. I know we're kind of expanding on this first segment a little bit. Memphis may or may not be back.
Define back. I think the tournament team.
You think they're a tournament team? They beat Houston at Houston. Houston, be on the lookout.
Yikes.
Not looking good. Be on the lookout for the Cougars. But Memphis wins. Amoni Bates taking his leave of absence. Hopefully he doesn't come back because that would be bad for them. No.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So
they have this is the perfect rally together moment. Penny's got them rallied together. They're just us against the world.
It's kind of like a Hoosiers moment a little bit,
Yeah, it's a good story. It's a good story for him.
Penny's taking him out. He's measuring the rim. He's measuring the free throw line. It's all 10 feet. so they're all rallying together.
I think that again, they have talent. I wouldn't want to necessarily play them. I don't know where they're going to be in the tournament if they make it. I'm guessing it would be something in that area. I just wouldn't want to play them. They could easily just be a first round exit easily, but I don't know. These teams are weird, and I wouldn't want to play a team like that.
That's fair. Remember what I said. You're ranked high early, drop down. Those are the teams that scare me the most in the tournament. Arkansas, Oregon, Michigan, Memphis. Those are all teams that could make some noise.
Absolutely.
All teams that can make some noise. Let's kind of move on. Oh, shout out Rutgers, by the way. Sorry, I just didn't have enough time to fit you in. They look like they were in the clubhouse for the last team in the Big Ten to get in. No?
Possible, yeah.
It looks like it.
We've talked about this. Let me find their ranking really quick. because their numbers were bad. Like we said,
They're terrible.
up to 81, still not good.
Yeah.
Still have a lot of opportunities left. So
We'll see.
They have, if they win games that they think they could win. I mean, they play Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana.
That'll undoubtedly raise their net. So that won't be an issue by the end of the year.
They have not they're in the midst of a 9-game stretch of quad 1 games, 9 in a row. So, and they've started out
4-0, 5-0?
3-1.
3-1. Oh,
that one
I didn't
point
know they
loss,
dropped one.
That 1 point loss to Nebraska really.
Oh, that's gonna kill them. That's gonna
really
kill
hurt them.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So, they have that one there in 5 in a row, looking good.
They're gonna be a team like Syracuse where they don't know where to put them on the seats.
Yep.
Let's kind of get into a game that you brought up to me yesterday. We're kind of rounding into the end of the season. March Madness is literally just around the corner. So, by the way, come to us for the coverage. We're going to be all over March Madness. It's going to be fantastic, the best shows you've ever listened to. But it is, at this point in the season, we each give one. What team has been the most surprising in a good way? What team has been the most disappointing? I'll let you go first on each because I have a couple for each. I don't want to double up.
Yep.
So go ahead.
So we actually have talked about this team a lot already.
Sure.
Didn't know we were really going to get into that National Player of the Year conversation. So my surprise team actually is Wisconsin.
It's the Badgers. Okay.
Did you have them on yours? I'm curious.
I did not.
So when we did our preseason Big Ten rankings, and even I found this because I'm pretty sure I was referencing this website, Badgers Wire, USA Today.
Yeah.
Even they on this website had Wisconsin at 10th in the Big Ten. And this Johnny Davis stuff came out of nowhere. Didn't even play last year, really. Wasn't very good. Their success this year, I mean, Greg Gard, shout out to him, was kind of expected to be on the hot seat at one point.
Yeah.
Because it was like, can he really do this? Players were leaving. They've been much better than expected. I really was like penciling in when IU played at the Kohl Center, even though they should have probably won anyway. Like that was going to be this is going to be the year because they're going to suck. They're not going to be good. I'm surprised. I just don't understand it. I still don't think they're that good, but
no.
The way they've been playing, they're significantly better than anybody probably thought.
Look, shout out Greg Gard. I think look, Ed Cooley's going to win it, but he should be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. Probably Big Ten Coach of the Year. He definitely should win that. Because look, his roster is very bad. You look at that roster and it looks good. Almost like a high school team aside from Johnny Davis. So you kind of watch them and you're like, okay. But he's found a way to create opportunities for their best player, Johnny Davis. Obviously, he saw him in practice play and he's like, okay, I think we're going to be okay if we run our offense through him. So, I mean, he found a way to get him open looks. Everybody knows where the shot is coming on every possession, and he's ran an offense to put him in the best position to, succeed. Johnny Davis kind of had his coming out party in Atlantis, I remember, that kind of sent over, okay, Wisconsin may be good. I think they beat Houston. I don't want to be wrong, but Johnny Davis went for like 30 or something. And I had no idea that he could keep that up for an entire year, in which he has. But yeah, shout out Greg Gard for kind of making it happen with a bad roster. It's really not a good roster at all. But yeah, I mean, I like that. I didn't have them listed. I thought two teams have been more surprising to me. Maybe not surprising is the right word, but kind of exceeded my expectations. The one that I have I mean, there's one I definitely should say, but the one I kind of wanted to say more is I like Texas Tech. I think Texas
Yeah.
Tech is a team. In the offseason, we looked at that Chris Beard moving on to Texas, and we kind of like, okay, Texas Tech is screwed. They lost a lot of guys in the transfer portal from that. But again, Mark Adams was able to keep them. And for the ones he did lose, he replaced them with maybe better players and, Bryson Williams, Adonis Arms, Kevin O'Banner. This team is awesome. Again, they know what they're good at and they know what they're not. 57th in adjusted offensive efficiency and third in defense. That is incredible. Mark Adams is really playing into this team's strengths. They make every game their style of game. They won't give up 90 points. They will never be in a shooting match with anybody. Mark,
except that Kansas game, which is super weird.
They went into 2 overtimes, which helped out the scoring a little bit. But they were holding their own until the final one. Yeah, it was weird, but Mark Adams has taken over this job, and he's done an incredible job in his first year. Shout out the Red Raiders. They kind of came in, they waxed Texas, it was really cool to see. And so, that's my team. The other team, do you want me to kind of give my honorable mention since I had to?
Sure, yeah.
Not to spend too much time on them, but Arizona was my other one.
Yeah.
Started off the year unranked. Again, this is 2 first-year coaches. Tommy Lloyd coming in. He's kind of taking over a roster. Look, I will say the roster was good. Sean Miller constructed a good roster of guys unconventionally because he couldn't recruit in America without getting investigated. He brought in a lot of foreign recruits. They're a really good team. They're experienced. They're long. They're athletic, and they're right there. They're one of probably 4 or 5 teams that could definitely win it all this year. So, shout out the Wildcats. Now for disappointments. we were being very positive for a second. It's not like us. We're very negative people. But now we're on to disappointments. Connor, I'll let you go first.
All right. It's about that time. It's almost March, and this is the team usually that everybody falls in love with. Not this year. The Florida State Seminoles are the biggest disappointment. They started off, I want to say 22nd. I'm not totally sure on that.
Yeah, they started off 23rd, 24th, somewhere around there. Yeah.
I'm not 20th, actually. Sorry.
20th. Okay.
So they have been bad this year. At one point, people were trying to say they were going to turn it around. Didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
They're 97th in the net this year, 13 and 11 overall. Their Ken Palm is 100. They're just bad. They've had bad losses all year. They lost to South Carolina. They've lost now, I think, 6 in a row in the ACC, which is
and they just got clobbered by a bad UNC team. Bad UNC team.
They were one of the other ones I thought about putting on there, but I just felt like their record was probably too good.
Yeah.
So you really put them in this conversation.
I chose a team to be completely transparent. I chose a team that's ranked, but
oh boy.
Keep going.
I think Leonard Hamilton's a great coach. This has been one of the worst seasons I think that he's had. He lost some guys. Scotty Barnes, obviously very important. But the way that they were talked about in the offseason, they had some good guys coming in. They always have a deep roster, and it just has not worked out. And it's playing into the fact that the ACC is such a terrible, terrible conference this year. And without them, without Virginia, another team that hasn't been playing well.
Sure.
The ACC is just bad. It's really not. It's not a deep conference in any way.
Yeah, you can't afford for 3 of your top teams to go down, or else.
Florida State and Virginia have been winning the ACC. They've been winning either the regular season, the ACC tournament.
Almost every year.
Almost every year.
Duke doesn't really win regular season conference tournaments, or they win the tournament. They don't win the conference championship regular season. So it is weird to see. And again, Virginia, remember when you said they were going to be a tournament team?
It was possible.
Okay.
This Virginia Tech team has that Virginia Tech game completely just eliminated that possibility because
they're dead. They're dead.
Like, if you look at their schedule, they're coming off 4 wins in a row. They win that one. They go to Miami. They win that one. They're 6 in a row. They pick up 2 quad 1 wins in that process. They're probably in that discussion. You've got the Duke game. And that if Virginia, they win that one, they're in. Yeah, I mean, that's the Virginia Tech game was the nail in the coffin, though. They couldn't lose. They basically had to win out.
Sure. No, that's true. So you went in a much more literal, disappointing season. I just kind of went in a team that's really burnt me. It burnt me bad. I picked them in my Final Four.
Oh, yeah. I thought about it.
Look, I mean, you bring
they
in
burned you this weekend.
They burned me this weekend. Whatever. You brought in Chris Beard. You have a damn good roster, full of transfers, full of awesome talent. And I think the nail in the coffin was kind of when Chris Beard said that Devin Askew is a generational talent. That's when they were dead in the water. And I should have known. Who says that Devin Askew is a generational talent?
Does he even play?
He's the backup point guard, and he terrible. Plays. Yeah. Look, Chris Beard doesn't know what to do with this rotation. Marcus Carr, hot and cold, told you first. He is not a great player. He's a volume shooter who's probably going to get you a lot of points on a very low percentage. And it just didn't really work out. This experiment with this roster didn't work out. Look, he's getting in guys that he's recruited from high school next year. Nartario Morris, Dylan Mitchell. They'll be fine. I think he'll end up doing a good job at Texas. I don't think he's going to have the curse that Rick Barnes, that Shaka Smart had in the Texas job where they just don't succeed. But it's interesting, though. I mean, and again, Shaka wanted to leave, I think, too.
Yeah. But last year, Texas was not a bad team. And then they get bounced, and it's like everybody says Shaka's terrible. It's like they had a good year last year with Matt Coleman. And
this team is different if Matt Coleman comes back, by the way, because they don't bring in Marcus Carr, and he's an All-American type player, I will say.
And again, this is also playing into the fact that filling out your roster with the portal doesn't always work.
Dangerous.
The fits aren't good. And even if they look good on paper, that doesn't really matter until they actually get on the floor and play.
It is odd for me that I chose an 18-7 team ranked 20th in the nation for this experiment, but I'm serious. They've disappointed me more than any other team has.
Mark it down. Texas will make a run in the tournament now.
Probably because I said this. I did tell you that Timmy Allen was going to be their best player. Yeah. He's leading the team in points.
He's been good.
But, I mean, he's leading the team with 11 points. They have 3 guys in double figures, and 2 of them are averaging 18 or 10 flat. Yeah.
There's no pecking order on that team, and it's like, I get it. It's hard to game plan for a team that has scorers like that, and anybody can go off on any given night. But if you don't have the one guy that you consistently go to, then it's not going to work. It won't work down the stretch.
You talk about fits. Indiana has a bad fit. They have worse players, though. So,
yes,
by nature, Texas has really good players and a worse fit. And it makes for some of the weirdest basketball you've ever watched in your life. It is like after watching a Texas game, you want to claw your eyes out as soon as possible, right after. because you're just like, I never want to watch basketball. It makes me not want to be a college basketball fan watching Texas play. I'm the biggest college basketball fan
They
on
win.
earth.
They win games on defense, which doesn't even make sense when you look at it. And they go into the portal and they bring in 3 guys that average 20 points per game. Like, they can't score. They literally cannot score.
It's insane. They brought in 3 bigs that should be versatile and stretch the floor, and they all suck at shooting.
Yes. It's really,
oh my gosh.
it's
terrible.
very, it's not good. And I don't know. It's funny because I wanted Mitchell to come to IU. At one point, he was maybe a guy instead of Michael Durr that they were potentially going to look at. Totally different players, though. Probably wouldn't have been a good fit either because apparently he can't shoot. So
no, and apparently he can't rebound either.
like he's like a nothing out there.
So yeah, Texas really disappoints me. Some mentions we didn't say for positives, surprises. I mean, Providence, been really good. I would put Villanova, but I mean, the AP loves Villanova, and they're back in the top 10, which is incredible. But whatever.
Big game tonight for them.
Huge game. That's a good segue. Let's start off in what is the name? Is it just Providence?
They're the Friars?
No. What is the city that is it just in Providence?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I love giving the city, but it's not that big of a deal. We go to Providence, Villanova, taking on the Friars.
Yes, it is Providence, by the way. Dunkin' Donuts Center. Just say that. That's what everybody's been
tweeting. The Dunkin' Donuts Center. That is really cool. That's a cool sponsor. I like that. But yeah, Villanova comes into Providence. Look, Providence, luckiest team in the nation. We've been over this, ranked 51st in KenPom, but they're number 8 in the country. Makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Villanova comes in. I don't know what to think about this game. I think, look, Villanova is favored, which they should be. If I'm a betting man, I'm not kidding. Look at Providence last game. They're all close. Every single game is close. Give me Providence plus 4.5. I think Villanova wins. But there's no way this game isn't close. No?
No, winner of this game wins the Big East. I think they both know and realize kind of what's at stake.
Mm-hmm.
Villanova isn't a team really that they don't blow anybody out. They're kind of like Kansas. Like they just win a lot of close games. I mean, they occasionally will play somebody and absolutely destroy them. But I mean, you look at, they beat St. John's by 11. They beat Georgetown by 11. Then you play Butler and you win by 40. I mean, that's kind of the exception.
I was going to reference
They play
that.
UConn, they win by 11. They play St. John's again, they win by 6. They play Seton Hall, they win by, like, they just play mostly close games. Again, I've been the Villanova supporter, haven't jumped off the bandwagon.
Oh, I jumped off early. I jumped off very early.
I don't know why.
They're frauds. They're frauds.
They have a high floor. I don't think they're in the conversation of winning at all like everybody probably thought they would.
No.
Their depth isn't good. They really only have starting 5. They haven't had much bench production all year. But give me Villanova, but I think Providence might cover it too.
Yeah,
it's going to come down to the wire.
I really like Providence plus 4.5. I will say that.
Yeah,
I really do like that. Again, I don't know which direction it'll fall in. Moving past that, Kentucky plays at Tennessee. No word on Tyty. I haven't heard a thing about Tyty. But I'm going to assume he's out just for rest purposes. I'm not going to lie, I still like Kentucky, even without Tyty. I know, and even me, I know how different the offense looks when Tyty's on the court versus when it's off. Tennessee is terrible. Tennessee is very bad. But I mean, look, going to Tennessee, it's a weird environment. It's that ugly orange color. I'm already dreading looking at that court. Give me Kentucky. Tennessee's favored -1.5. Give me Kentucky money line. I really like that bet. Um, I just don't think Tennessee has an answer for Oscar. I think severe. It's going to be Severe versus Kennedy Chandler. I just think the experience of Severe, and if Tyty doesn't play, Davion will be starting next to him. I think that's going to win outright. And then, of course, Grady's going to be open every once in a while, just drain a couple threes. So I like Kentucky tonight.
I agree.
I hate that. I hate when you agree with me about Kentucky games, but
I just don't think Tennessee's good.
okay.
It's such a tough, like the spread. Like I don't want to.
I hate when it's that close.
Yeah, I just don't think Tennessee's good. Ty or not, I just think there's levels to it, and I agree that Kentucky will probably they'll win it. It'll be close though.
Ooh, we can do one more before we get to the big one. Wake Forest goes to Duke. This is a game I kind of looked at. Duke's favored by 10.5. Wake Forest plus 10.5 kind of looks nice.
It does.
ACC is very bad. ACC is very bad. One of the few teams that kind of surprised everybody was Wake Forest. Demon Deacons. I think Duke wins probably, but do they win by 10.5? I don't know.
I'm going to say they don't.
Okay.
I don't think they do. The first matchup, Duke won by 12. I think Wake Forest maybe gives them a run for their money. Duke's kind of been up and down this month. They had a good game against North Carolina, and then they dropped one to Virginia, and then they've beaten Clemson and Boston College after that, which Boston College isn't good. So
good job.
I think that Wake Forest is going to be the first team that they've played in February that is decent and pretty good, but we'll see where it goes. They just have that score that could match Paulo.
Sure. Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the one thing.
Mm-hmm.
As far as in regards to these other teams, I think that Wake Forest has that score. They don't win, but I think they can cover this.
Yeah. And now we're on to the big game for you, what's happening up here in Bloomington that I'm sure you're going to. Wisconsin heads to Assembly Hall.
Yeah.
Look, Indiana's on a massive, I won't call it a spiral yet. I think that takes 4 games. 3-game losing streak. Hosting Wisconsin, maybe one of the best players in the nation coming in. Is one of the best players in the nation. Johnny Davis is coming in. Taking on the Hoosiers. Assembly Hall line. Vegas likes to give Assembly Hall a lot of props in their line. IU -3. I'm not a betting man. I'm not. If I was, Wisconsin +3 is something. I'm not going to say it's easy money, but it's appealing to me. You can tell me why it isn't.
Give me the Hoosiers.
Okay.
It's very similar to the Illinois game. Somehow IU was favored. Wisconsin is a different team. And I don't know if Vegas factors into that. I don't know what they really look at when they make these spreads. But the one thing that Wisconsin does not have is a post defender, post scorer, which has caused IU problems.
Entirely true. Sure.
The only way Wisconsin wins this game is if Brad Davison decides to have one of his games where he just has like 6 or 7 threes. I don't think Johnny Davis is going to be enough. Give me IU.
Who's going to guard Johnny Davis tonight?
Probably Xavier to start. I'm not really sure though.
I'd imagine not Trey.
One of those two. One of those two. The good thing is they'll be able to switch off on him when one of the other gets in foul trouble.
It's incredible to watch them play. Usually in the Big Ten, if there's a guy that's taking all the shots, it's a Luka Garza type, Kofi Coburn type in the post. So it's incredible to watch him play. I'm kind of jealous. Kentucky plays at the same time, so it won't be at the game. I can't. I can't. Look, and if they do win, props to Indiana. I
don't blame you.
Johnny Davis is incredible.
Yeah.
And I know Wisconsin just lost to Rutgers, but Rutgers is hot. Indiana's on this. Again, it's not a downward spiral. It's this losing
Hear me
streak.
out on this. This is bold. It's going to be their get right game.
Wisconsin's?
No, Indiana's.
I
think they turn it around tonight. A win goes a long way. It's when you play a team that you just totally blew the game the first time. I think there's some added motivation there. It's like we had them once. Can't let them get us again.
I mean, that's fair.
This is also pointing into the serious trap pick. Wisconsin's the easy, like, go either way, but I can't.
I know. I'm not saying that you should just bet against your team. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's going to be really hard for me to see IU winning this game. Just the offensive struggles. Look, I know Wisconsin isn't very good. Like, I think they're probably going to lose early in the tournament. Like, I think we can both agree on that. I think they can get upset. So, which I guess plays into it, but I mean, yeah, just give me Wisconsin +3. That's the only game that we disagreed on, which is probably the perfect day of fading hot and cold, if I had to guess. So if you're listening, fade all those picks and go through them again. Kentucky +1.5. Or I did Kentucky money line. Is that what you're on?
Yep.
All right, Kentucky money line, Providence +4.5, Wake Forest +10.5, and then we disagreed on Wisconsin, Indiana. So if you fade those 3 games, put it in a parlay, you're probably a very happy man. But yes, Cotter, thanks for joining me today. I know it's early in the morning, but yeah, have a good day, classes. Have fun at that game tonight. I am jealous. I always do. I like being in the crowd just for any college basketball game. It's kind of my muse. I love doing it. Hopefully it's not as bad as the last one.
Yeah. That would be it. This podcast would officially be a Kentucky and national podcast.
It would just be Oscar Sheboy. Oh, sure. Yeah. Go Cats. You're probably saying go Hoosiers tonight. I'm not. But again, thanks for joining me. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys all have a great Tuesday. Watch as much college basketball as you can, and love you guys.